So what's going on, guys? My name is MrDalekJD, and today we're going to be discussing this beautiful image you're seeing on screen. This is the final comic book issue cover for the Call of Duty Zombies comic series. You may have already seen this. If not, this is the image for the final comic issue, and when put all together makes this beautiful collection of images which does fit together like a jigsaw puzzle piece of sorts. But in this video, we're going to be focusing specifically on Richtofen within this image, as this is the first time we've seen him in this comic book as the Origins version of himself, and there's something very weird with this comic issue cover which I want to talk about because there is some heavy story implications which we don't quite understand or even realize yet. But within this comic book issue cover, we can see the Primis Richtofen. Of course, there's no doubt in my mind that is him. But if we look at his eyes, one color is blue and the other is yellow, which is extremely interesting because we've never seen any eye color change affecting any of our characters within Zombies before, and especially with Richtofen. Now, with this particular version of Richtofen that we're seeing here inside of the comic book issue, we assume this is Primis Richtofen, and if that's the case, there isn't anything in the Zombies timeline which suggests there being some sort of event taking place which gives us the eye color change. If we go back to Black Ops 2 Buried, there is two potential end games, but in the Zombie Chronicles timeline, only one of those end games is the true canon story, and that's where Maxis is the winner, and he is corrupted by the Dark Ether and punishes Richtofen by not only taking control of the zombies, but by trapping Richtofen within the soul of a zombie. And with that happening, Maxis is in control and all the zombies' eye color are yellow, which is what we see in this magazine comic issue. It looks a sort of greeny yellow, but I'm more hinting towards it being a yellow color. Now, 10 days after the events of Buried, Richtofen instructs Undead Richtofen to pursue Victus and recover their blood vials. This is essentially what most of the comic issue story has been focused on, but we don't exactly know the specific details on how Undead Richtofen came to be. We can assume that by Maxis punishing Richtofen by trapping his soul in a zombie's body, that is how we have zombified Richtofen. But if we look in the endgame of Buried, you see the zombie is just a normal standard zombie with blue eyes rather than a zombie which looks like Richtofen. So there is definitely indeed some explaining needed there on how Undead Richtofen's come to be, but we've seen visions of Undead Richtofen through the teleporter of the giant as well as the jump scare in Shadows of Evil, which pertains Undead Richtofen to be the Ultimus version, seeing as he is wearing his German outfit with, of course, German cap as well. That doesn't seem to be the case inside these comics, as the outfit that Undead Richtofen is wearing is indeed the Origins/Primis version of Richtofen. So what isn't really explained here is that Undead Richtofen is actually a undead Primis Richtofen. What we are seeing in this cover issue could very well be the version of Richtofen before he becomes Undead Richtofen, and this could also be taking place in a potential universe where the Buried endgames are both sort of the same, where neither Maxis or Richtofen win, and that's how we have the blue eyes and the yellow eyes inside of Richtofen. Now, we've asked for years with Jason asking, is the zombie's eye color important, and he said that it is, but he's never given any hints onto who's controlling their eye color and what exactly it means, because in some dimensions like Mob of the Dead and Gorad Krovi, the zombie eye color are red, which is extremely weird. Inside of Black Ops 2, they're all blue because Richtofen's controlling, red when Samantha's controlling, and yellow when Maxis is controlling. But Richtofen here having two different eye colors and he isn't a zombie yet is extremely weird to me, and I almost feel like this comic book issue is an image of Richtofen in the process of turning into Undead Richtofen. And as I was making this video, I came across a startling discovery, and if you put the first comic issue and the last one side by side, you can see that these are taking place in the exact same place with the exact same zombies. On one half we have Undead Richtofen, who's of course controlling this horde of zombies behind him, and this one is Richtofen in the exact same location with the same exact zombies, but this time they are trying to kill him. If you look closely on Richtofen, you can notice that there are blood smears on his face, and if you notice particularly on his forehead, he already has some wounds which we see present on Undead Richtofen, which pretty much confirms to me that what we are seeing here is the exact same Undead Richtofen just before he turns into a zombie. There is no way on earth you could argue this. If you look at the background, you can see the sort of skyscraper building to be exactly the same, only just zoomed in a little bit. We have the two zombie arms, which are the exact same. We have some of the Margwa looking zombies, which again are the same. The zombie right behind Richtofen with the headband on is exactly the same. It's just mental, and Richtofen is wearing the exact same outfit as well. There is some gigantic storyline information to be taken from this last comic, which is going to be coming out August 23rd, so we have quite a long while to wait. And whilst the timeline does explain most of these comic book stories without you having to read them, I definitely don't think they've explained everything, because we have no idea how Undead Richtofen has come to be, and I don't see there be many mentions of Undead Richtofen going along and chasing the Victor's characters. So far in this storyline, we've had Primis Richtofen contacting Samuel Stuhlinger whilst they've been chased continuously by another version of Richtofen called Undead Richtofen, which is extremely weird, and we've never really questioned it too much, but now it just asks even more questions which we should have some answers for in a little while thanks to the comic. But it's the eye colour which I just still can't get over. Is Richtofen turning into a zombie during this point? Is there no one controlling the zombies at this point in time? Is it a still constant struggle between Maxis and Richtofen even beyond this point, just before Maxis destroys the Earth in 2036? There's a lot of things before the Victus crew, which are the transit crew, enter a rift and enter the Broken Earth, which is where they find the Chronorium for Richtofen so that he can learn about exactly what needs to be done. Just before we end this video, I want to read the bio for this comic to maybe give a little bit more insight into what exactly the cover can entail. Misty, Russman and Marlton have risked life and limb in order to follow the insane directives of the voice in Stuhlinger's head. They were promised escape, and all of the scars and bruises will be worth it if they end up somewhere that's not full of vicious zombies, but they don't know who's really been given the orders. Can they be trusted? That is questioning the very concept of if Richtofen can be trusted, giving all of these insane demands and directions for the crew in order to better help the universe and of course do what needs to be done. But if there's another version of Richtofen that hasn't been explained in the timeline, and that's who we're seeing in this comic issue cover, I don't really know, but if you guys have any ideas and theories, feel free to drop them down below in the comment section. This has been such an enjoyable video to make, and I didn't really expect to be making a video because I know most of you guys have seen this comic book issue by now, and I wasn't going to make it unless I had something new to bring to the table and really get the thought process and juices flowing on what exactly this could mean. But if you did enjoy this video in any capacity, then feel free to hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button as well, because I'll be keeping you guys updated on the latest zombies information. But thank you so much for watching. As always, I will catch you next time.